how are you going to prescribe the medication and what are the components in the prescription writing. This is what we are going to discuss. And what are the common drugs that you should be aware of in terms of doses. Okay, so you should know how are you going to write the prescription. So prescription is a verbal document. It can be electronically produced and to specify a particular medication for a specific disease. It's a Latin word, and drug that requires a prescription because it is considered potentially harmful, not used under the supervision of a licensed healthcare professional. Prescription can be written by a physician, by doctor, dentist. Now the prescription format. The prescription format has headings like the upward headings that are there, which requires identification and all that. Then there is a body which has the drug information, and then the closing at the end of it that requires the sometimes verification or the source from which it is generated. Heading has the identification formats: name, address, age, sex, date of the prescription. Sometimes if the prescription is of pediatric age group, then weight becomes an essential component in the heading. If you talk about the body you're going to start with RX. This is you should take this medication. It stands for RX. Then name of the drug, dose and size or concentration of the drug, and directions to the patient. So in the body, it contains the drugs that needs to be taken. Is it oral, IV, IM, the route, the dose, the duration, and the timings. These are all important in the bodies. This is the body of the prescription. Use the generics. Name. Multiple drugs per prescription can lead to confusion. Keep it simple. So you need to make it a simple prescription and try to use the generics, not the company name. Some drugs are known for their abbreviations, like HCT is for hydrochlorothiazide, MSO4 for morphine sulfate. So these are internationally recognized abbreviations. If you don't know and if you're not sure whether this abbreviation is for international use, recognized or not, then you can just write the whole name as it is, no problem. So we use TAB for the tablets, we use abbreviation capsule for the CAP, SYR for the syrups, suspensions for SUSP, and injections for that. So while you're starting your drug prescription, you need to mention the form, in which form you're going to prescribe the medication. Then the concentrations. The appropriate way to write the concentration is like if it's a 5 milligram, you don't put point after that because it will going to create a mistake of 50 milligram. So there is no need for this decibel in 0.0. But if there is decibel before it, then use leading zeros. So 0.8 it actually is more appropriate rather than just 0.8, because it will create as like 8 ml, not 0.8. So if you are using decibels before the starting of the word, you should put 0 point something, not just 0.8 or 0.6 or 0.5, and you don't have to use the decibels after it if there is no concentration required. Like 5 milligram, you don't have to take it as 5.0 because it's going to create mistakes and errors. So you try to avoid these errors and make it very simple, very clear to the patient, to the pharmacist, and to the rest of the healthcare provider team. So quantities of 1 gram, more than should be written 1 grams. not 1 g. So, and the quantity is less than 1 gram but more than 1 milligram should be written in milligrams. So, if it is 1 gram, you don't write 1 g, you write 1 gram the whole, alright. And if it is less than 100 grams, less than 1 gram, you are going to write it in mgs. And things like that, mcg, 0.1 milligram, use ml or mls for the milliliters. So, these are all depending on the strength, you will use your abbreviations appropriately. You can use English words. So, these are some common abbreviations that you should be aware of. BID stands for twice daily. Okay. CAPS, we know that it is stand for capsule. QID stands for 4 times daily. STAT is immediately. TAB is for the tablet. TID is 3 times daily. And OD, there is another, and PRN, PRN means as needed. Alright. So, you should aware of these terminologies. For your own sake, you do not expect the patient to know this TID, BID, PRN, STAT. This is for you and the pharmacist understanding, and you can write down in Arabic or in English the whole word, that in the morning, in the night, you can write the whole thing for the patient's more clarification. That is also acceptable. OD? Yes, OD stands for once daily. There are a lot of other things, but we usually do not use it. Q4 hourly, it says that every 4 hourly. We use this quite frequently. Then the closing thing: prescriber's signature, refill instruction, and generic substitution instructions. So, in the end, you are going to write down your signature, your follow-up, and if there is this drug is not present, then you can use the alternative drug if it is available. Controlled substances, you need to regulate more strictly, like heroin, opioids, diazepam, phenobarbital. These are controlled medications, and it should be dealt very cautiously and carefully about the doses, about the duration. Patient should not keep taking these drugs, because these drugs could be harmful in longer run. So, that's one way of writing a prescription, where you don't you just don't understand what is written here. So, we are not required to write in such a way that no one can understand and we think that we are a good doctor. It's not the forte of a good doctor. So, here if you see, it's an example of a good prescription writing. If you see here in the beginning, we discussed the headings. The headings are usually marks of identification. We usually have nowadays we usually have printed prescriptions, but in the primary health case we do not have printed prescriptions, and you should also know how should you write a prescription. So, if you are required to write a prescription, you should know that, okay, in the uppermost headings I would like to mention all the identification tools: name, age, sex, weight, maybe diagnosis. Yes, diagnosis is also very important. It's not mentioned here, but you can also write diagnosis by making a triangle and then write in the middle the diagnosis, that which condition you are prescribing this medication for. It can also be included in the heading. Allergies, very important to mention it in the heading. In the body, you start with RX, treatment, and then you write down the medication. So, this medication is written amoxicillin 250 milligram per 5 ml. What is written after that? SUSP. So, this is suspension. You can put this SUSP in from the beginning also, there's no harm in the fact. We usually do it in the beginning so that we understand that, okay, now we are talking about suspension and talking about TAB, like tablets, like capsule, like IV, like IM. You can write down these form in the beginning also and in the end also. We usually write it in the beginning, by the way. And then 2 teaspoons or 5 ml or 3 ml or 4 ml, depending on how you want to prescribe on the doses. So take 1 teaspoon TID for how many days? So you need to write down the frequency, 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, and then for how long? For 5 days, for 3 days, for 10 days. We usually miss all these components. Sometimes the doctors just mention the drug and the strength, does not mention the duration. So it is very important so that the pharmacist can call you or the patient can ask you for how long should I take it. So it's very important. And then at the end you need to do your signature and maybe a follow-up when to return back in your ending sequence. So that's a brief tool of how are you going to write a prescription. Okay, any confusion up till now? Yes. In the paper? I'm not talking about those in those systems which has a printed format. But if you are required to make a prescription, because in the primary healthcare centers you don't have these kind of setups, you should write the prescriptions. And as doctors, it's an important skill that you should know how am I going to write a prescription in a way that is legitimate, understandable, and reproducible. Tablet and a capsule, it's just a form of making it. Yani some medications, they are formed in a capsule format, and some they are formed as a capsule, as a tablet. Tablet does not have an additional coating. Yes. Not necessarily. I think they made it's a pharmacist who can guide you better, a pharmacologist patient who can guide you better. But what I can understand is there are some medications which needs more protection from the external environment. If you open it up, so if there are chemicals, you found a capsule has an additional coating. It does not have any flavor. But you find out if in a capsule you can find a little flavor in it. So it seems like that the chemical is on the surface of it. But capsule does not have chemicals on the surface of it. The molecule is within that capsule to protect it from the external environment and to protect it from any degeneration or some extra actions. It's just a matter of production. All right. Any other question for the prescription writing? We will have some hands-on sessions. Now we do not have the pen and we do not have the white blackboard. Once we are going into in the primary healthcare settings, I would like you to develop this skill also, and we can check it whether you have understand it or not. Okay. Once you know that how are you going to write the prescription? Okay, what are the management options that what are the medications that you are aware of in hypertensive patient? What medication you can give? What are the options? Diuretics, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, ACE inhibitors, ARBs, okay. Can I have an example, a specific example? Good. Amlodipine, captopril, okay, captopril, azinopril, okay. So these are common medications. We are not talking about the conditions now. We are just talking about the medications, their strengths, and some of the doses. So we should know all these common drugs. Like we need to take the drugs for hypertension. We need to take drugs for diabetes and things like that. So we'll discuss those common medications. So if you look here, let me put it this way. If you talk about antibiotics, common antibiotics, amoxicillin, augmentin. Augmentin is a combination of clavulanic acid, okay. Azithromycin, all right. Cefixime. Amoxicillin you give, what indications you may understand with amoxicillin? Tonsillitis you can give, yes. Cellulitis, rheumatic fever, okay, all right. So these are the common conditions. Amoxicillin, what is the dose in the adults? Adults. 500 milligrams, okay. Once daily or twice daily? Or thrice daily? 3 to 4 times? 3 times? Amoxicillin? Every 8 hours? Okay. Amoxicillin can be given, by the way, BID also, that means twice daily, or TID also, both. Depends on what is the severity and what is your clinical judgment. BID we use 1 gram, if it is 1 gram. By the way, amoxicillin is not usually present in 1 grams. When we talk about 1 gram, it usually is in augmentin form. Augmentin is a combination of amoxicillin and clavulanic acid. Augmentin is, by the way, is a trade name, not the generic name. But we are very familiar of this term. So BID and TID both are acceptable. For how long you usually give? 5 days, even 10 days. 3 days is not appropriate. How we give medication, sometimes we use it, we give it for 3 days, but it's not the indication. We give it for 3 days and try and see if the response is good, then we can continue. If the response is not good and the situation is not getting better, then we need to switch that up. So BID and TID for 7 days, 5 days, both acceptable. Alright, what is the other drug? Augmentin we discussed the same. It is the same BID or TID. What is the common side effect of this augmentin or amoxicillin? Common side effect? Diarrhea, GI disturbance. Azithromycin, is it given, what is the strength? 250 and 500. By the way, amoxicillin also comes in 250 and 500. Azithromycin also comes in 250 and 500, also 750 also. Once daily or BID or TID? It is once daily. Okay. BID or TID or once daily depends on the excretion. This drug remains 24 hours. That's the reason we give it once daily. Other drugs, they excrete out earlier. So once daily for 5 days or 7 days. Cefixime, Cefspan. Indications. Conditions, you can give Cefixime. Cefixime belongs to which class of drug? Third generation cephalosporin. Pneumonia, diarrhea, UTIs, enteric fevers, and it's a broad spectrum antibacterial. Cefixime comes in strength? No. Capsule Cefixime 400 milligram, one strength available for the adults I'm talking about. Cefixime 400 and it is given once daily usually for all the normal infections. But if you're talking about enteric infections, then Cefixime enteric dose is 400 milligrams BID. This is the only condition where you give BID. Rest of the conditions you just give once daily. It's a regular dose. If you don't like UTI or any other problems, want to give Cefixime 400 milligrams once daily. Enteric dose is 400 milligrams twice daily. So if you have the prescription and it is written enteric fever, then 400 milligram BID is acceptable by the pharmacist. And otherwise the pharmacist is going to tell you that doctor, you are prescribing it wrongly. 400 milligrams, it's usually in the once daily dose. Cefixime. Then ciprofloxacin, metronidazole, 400 milligrams TID or 500 milligrams TID. Ciprofloxacin, it's another antibiotic which is given for UTI mainly, and it is also 500 milligrams BID. Ciprofloxacin should be given BID, not TID dose. Okay. Paracetamol, very famous. Strength 500 milligram. Frequency 2 tablets could be 3 times, 4 times. So Q 6 hourly, Q 4 hourly. This is also this. You can write it in this way also, or you would like to write down. You can also write down. By the way, BID and TID is not understandable to the patient, so you can write down. So TID is 1 plus 1 plus 1. So that's another way of easy way to understand to the patient that this is given 3 times daily. Sometimes you see the pharmacists, they mark 2 lines or 3 lines, so they can understand, okay, it's that BID or TID. Even that is acceptable. Ibuprofen 400. 400 3 times, yes, 3 times. The minimum 3 times. Even BID can also be given, depends on the severity, but usually given TID. You can give Brufen not less than Q8 hourly. You give paracetamol not, you can give paracetamol Q4 hourly also, but the ibuprofen you should not give less than Q6 hourly and Q8 hourly, not less than that, because it's going to give more side effects of these NSAIDs. Aspirin 75 milligram and 81. 1 gram also? 75 milligram and 81 milligram. Both are available depending on which company is making aspirin. Once daily. Okay. Omeprazole 20, 40. One time. Usually given regularly, usually given once daily. If it is 20 milligram, it can be given BID. 40 milligram BID we usually do not give. Some extra conditions like H. pylori infection and very severe dyspepsia, you can give 40 milligrams BID, but as physicians you should not give it. A gastroenterologist can give this 40 milligram BID. If you want to start with 20 milligram BID, then you can use 20 milligrams to make it BID. What other instruction you are going to give in the omeprazole? Before taking meal. So take this meal before the breakfast, 20 so pre-meal. So you will write down capsule omeprazole 20 milligram BID before meals. Azithromycin? Not necessarily. By the way, there is one myth that that you take these medications with milk to make it more strong, to get more energy and things like that. We should not take these medications, any medications or antibiotics with the milk, because milk is going to interfere with the absorption. So taking with milk is not required. Just take it with simple water. It's related to the absorption. Yeah. Cetirizine is an anti-allergic. It usually comes in this single strength, and depends on which company is making this cetirizine. It's an anti-allergic, any anti-allergics. So we are not really talking about the mgs, but usually give it once daily at night. Anti-allergics have a side effect at sleeping, drowsiness. So usually we give it at night. If you talk about Hypertension, lisinopril, amlodipine. Amlodipine is calcium channel blocker. Dose 5 milligram, and usually once daily, or you can give it is usually once daily. You give 5 milligrams. If it is not controlled, you can increase up to 10 milligrams, but usually we give amlodipine once daily, whether it's a 5 milligram or a 10 milligram strength. Simvastatin 20 milligram, 40 milligrams once daily. We usually give it at evening hours. Now we talk about diabetes. Metformin 500, 750 and even 1000. So if you go into 1000, you don't write down 1000 milligram, you write down 1 gram. Okay. Frequency? Once not recommended. Usually should have twice or thrice. One time is just 6 hours, and 4 hours and just excrete it out. BID or TID is the dose for the metformin. Is it given before meal, in the meal, after meals? After meals or within the meals. A side effect for the metformin? GI upsets. Metformin does not cause hypoglycemia, so that's a good thing. Insulin dose, we will discuss that. Glipizide is a sulfonyl urease. You take it before meals, and ask the patient to take. He has to take breakfast when he takes this medication. If he is planning to skip breakfast, don't take this medication. Thyroxine 500 mcg. It's in the micrograms.